People have been asking me a lot of questions about magic in Deepwoken. The most common question I get is how magic is unlocked, and it's a good question because there really isn't any definitive answer. There are some things that we know for certain about magic in Deepwoken, but there are also other things that are less obvious and up for interpretation. The first thing that we know for certain is that when you first join the game, you're given a selection of elements that you can choose from. As well as receiving the element, you receive stat points in that specific element. This information is given to us in the second Q&A, where someone literally asked the question, do you spawn with magic or not? And while this is very important information, there's something else that Ragusa implied when giving his answer, and I want to see if you can pick up on it.
How do the elements work? Are you born with an element? Do you pick an element?
You pick your preferred element at the start.
Yep. And you'll get some points in that to begin with.
Yep. So you can start making those types of moves right off the bat.
Alright.
As well as confirming that you spawn with the element of your choice, Ragusa and Archmage also imply something else. They say that you're born with stat points in the element of your choice, and because of this you can make spells in that element straight away. Now, from their reasoning you can infer that the way that you make spells is by using stat points in that specific element. So those are two facts about magic that are almost certainly true, that you spawn with the element of your choice, and that stat points in the specific magic allow you to make spells with that attribute. Now, the natural question that you might be asking is, well, how do you get stat points in a certain element? As well as spawning with stat points in the element, there must be some other ways to get them, otherwise you'd be capped to a small amount of spells. Another question that you might have is, how do you unlock elements other than your starter element? We've seen that in gameplay. People have different magics in their build. For example, you can have fire and wind at the same time, and use different spells from those elements. I believe that I can answer both of these questions, but with a little bit of speculation. This is definitely not confirmed, and I could definitely be wrong about this, but this is just what made the most sense to me, given the information that we have from all of the leaks. In Agamatsu's Fort Merit mission, he turns in a bag of loot, and he gets some ingredients for it. We see an item called the Thundercore Codex, which has a special blue color to it. Now, Thundercore is obviously one of the types of the elements that you can unlock in Deepwoken. My hypothesis is that you use the Thundercore Codex to unlock Thundercore, and once you've unlocked Thundercore, you can use further codexes to increase your stat points in that specific element. My reasoning for this is because we know that you unlock spells with stat points. The codex must be for something else other than unlocking spells. The only alternative that I can think of is for unlocking the element, adding stat points to that element, or the unlikely alternative, which is allowing you to modify a spell. I personally don't think that the last option, which is that codexes let you modify spells, is going to be correct, because in Nanoprodigy's video we can see something called a strength codex, and there are no strength skills to modify, so it would only make sense that the strength codex gives you stat points in strength. With this reasoning, we can see that the only logical explanation is that codexes increase your stat points in a specific element or skill. Since Agamatsu got this codex from Fort Merit mission, we can assume that the main way of progressing and getting stat points in the game is just by doing missions. This is very different from, say, Rogue Lineage, which had a very linear progression system, and you would typically only really progress by killing people and getting silver and grips. In Deepwoken, you're going to be hunting for loot and stat points which best fit your build. You might find a codex that you don't need or a codex that you don't want, but that's going to be a part of the game, and you're going to need to grind for a while in order to get the stuff that you want in order to fully progress your build. If you guys have any other questions that you want me to answer about magic in Deepwoken, then leave them in the comments down below. I'll be willing to give it a try. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and peace.
They say say I'm way too obsessed, and I've got nothing left, and I'm not quite there yet. But those words they'll regret, cause I've got something left, and I'm not giving in. I will not let them win, I won't stop till the end, no.